Welcome to Satoshi Economy, honest global crypto news and info, where the message is more important than the messenger. A dozen things you need to know about Globalcoin, Facebook's Globalcoin. Today we'll discuss just mainly a lot of the informational and news releases about Globalcoin. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I really believe that this will affect so many people that it's worthy of us having our eyeballs on it and knowing a lot of the information that has been released so far. And I've been researching plethora of articles for 10 or 15, well, actually about 2 weeks now. And the pace at which this project for Globalcoin is going is breakneck. And at first they said that they were going to release a beta in Q4 of 2019 and then plan to release it in Q1 of 2020 to initially 12 countries. But now recently, just as recently as June, the beginning of June, they say that they are going to come out on June 18th with a white paper and may even release it before the end of June. So we'll see here. But here's about a dozen things that are worthy of being aware of. Globalcoin has been in talks with the U.S. Treasury, they say, because they want to be open and get advice from them as far as some regulatory issues. That's important. Also, they've been known to be, some high-ranking officials for Facebook have for years been known to have been in high-ranking meetings with White House officials for years. So, word. And I'm sitting out here in a park. Found a quiet space. I've got a group of people. I love this one game. It's frisbee golf, or not frisbee golf, but it's a frisbee game, and it's kind of like football. But I'm sitting out here. I found a quiet spot, but there's a lot of bugs that are bugging me. I see why they call them bugs. So if you bear with me on that. Number two, they've been in talks with the Bank of England. They do plan to have the euro as one of the currencies that they have their Globalcoin pegged to. So that's a high rank. They've been talking to some high-ranking people over there. Number three, they registered Project Libra in May 2, I believe it was, in Geneva, Switzerland. And it'll be reportedly a financial, technological base or company. And they've registered it in Geneva, Switzerland. Number four, they have been in a lot of talks reportedly with Coinbase and with Gemini. Those are cryptocurrency exchanges. Coinbase boasts now recently about 30 million subscribers. By far, I think the largest cryptocurrency exchange and most popular one in America. Gemini, interestingly, is headed up by the Winklevoss twins, the Winklevi, who notably won, I think it was a $68 million settlement from Facebook years ago. Because the Winklevoss twins were claiming they were part of the initial group inventing Facebook, but now they're in talks in conjunction with the Winklevoss twins to enable them or to help them, to guide them to have the Globalcoin presumably to be available on their exchange, the Gemini exchange. So Facebook is doing a lot of legwork here. Number five, they've been to talks with Western Union, Visa, and MasterCard, which presumably means that they will have a strong foray into the remittance industry, which is just huge. I believe that is almost a $100 billion market globally. I think that's pretty accurate. I may be a little off there and mistaken, but it's a huge market. There's so many third world citizens who work in first world countries, and then they'll send money back to their homeland, and it's just a huge market. And of course, with Visa and MasterCard being in talks with Facebook, it'll definitely be, admittedly by Facebook, it's intended to be a way that people can have online purchases. They can use as an online purchase platform. Number six, this Globalcoin will definitely be a stablecoin. And it'll reportedly be backed by, or pegged to a number of currencies, the dollar, the euro, and I believe the Japanese yen. But this is absolutely, positively huge. And what a stablecoin will enable is a great market for purchases. Because it lowers the volatility, it practically eliminates the volatility, it'll be a place for people to park their money and then be able to negotiate purchases. It's a great negotiation tool because it enables, it takes out the volatility and creates an environment where people can make online purchases or even to negotiate purchases. Number 7, it's believed that Facebook has or will be fund the Globalcoin effort with $1 billion. Number 8, they're between Facebook, which boasts 2.4 billion subs, and they also own Instagram and WhatsApp, and those three together boast about $3.5 billion subscribers. Now, I actually believe that it's significantly less than that, although it's definitely over a couple billion. But the interesting thing about what Facebook is doing here, they're getting into a payments industry where there is KYC and AML, which is short for Know Your Client, and anti-money laundering. And the short of that means that every person who subscribes or will participate in this Globalcoin will have to submit their identification and address and other information to make sure that there's the tech, that information for that it's important for Facebook to have to be a viable custodian of these funds according to regulations with many countries on Earth. So number 9, they're going to submit a white paper by June 18th already, and this is in the industry a well-known kind of a cornerstone publication for the world to use as just the fundamentals and the kind of a news release or a basis for which people can see what is this all about and what are the fundamentals of it and the techniques and even some of the math and the science behind all that. Number 10, I already mentioned, but they initially said they wanted to launch a beta in Q4 of 2019 and then launch to 12 countries in Q1 of 2020. But recently they're talking that they may even launch it earlier, even this month yet. So it's moving very fast. There's other things that I've heard about as in looking at so many articles, and I'll just discuss that for a little bit here. Facebook has talked about using or implementing a foundation, which has to do with what's known as nodes, which will be independent people globally who will use the computing power to verify the transactions. And people, what Facebook has announced is that they're going to be charging a fee of $10 million for people to participate in that and to be part of the verification process. But that will be overseen, I think, is what how this works out. That will be overseen by an independent foundation. And the reason why they're doing that is, integrating or implementing a foundation in the eyes of governments or regulatory agencies. It'll make them look like that they have a decentralized power, or the power of the coin or the crypto or the currency is decentralized. So it'll cause some lenience as far as present regulations. It'll free them up to operate, but really it brings up so many questions. Just as far as an editorial here, what I'm going to say is that definitely the most important thing here, I think that, and actually there's not a lot of people talking about this, is the most important and most valuable thing for Facebook is actually the spending data that they'll be able to retrieve. I mean, they'll have the GPS. They already have on the Facebook platform everybody's face and addresses, in many cases some much banking information, second homes, pets' names. I mean, it's just ridiculous the amount of information they have that will be able to be tied to these financial transactions. And it's just extremely valuable, and they will be able to use that data to just gain a lot of financial value, monetary value from that no one's really talking about. But that remains to be seen how all this will wash out. When initially Facebook came out and said that they were going to launch in Q1, launch a beta in Q4, and then launch in 12 countries in Q1 of 2020, I thought that was way, obviously they've got to announce something, let people know kind of a map, a time map, a roadmap. But I thought that this is the way most companies operate. They give initial dates, and then typically they'll be delayed. But actually now Facebook is looking to greatly speed up those initial announcements. But I think what is going to end up happening, well, we'll see. They'll. I think that it's true that they will be able to implement some of these things earlier. But what is going to happen is a lot of the regulatory agencies, SEC, CFTC, some of the CME, they're talking about using some of the financial companies that exist that have to do with liquidity. I mean, they're going to get into. What I'm saying is, with all of this happening, there's going to be some things that are going to come up that are going to create some roadblocks that are probably going to really delay some of the things. But at the same time, this is really, really huge, just simply because it involves so many people. And it will essentially enable people to transact without the banks. And Facebook will, at the same time, be able to garner many transaction fees, even though they're saying, and I'm sure they will be less than what is presently out there in the market. So it's really going to cause a lot of good things to happen, but also I just put out an alert or a caution, and I don't intend to use it because it essentially is a closed garden currency. It's not a cryptocurrency. It'll be available on cryptocurrency exchanges, it looks like, but it's going to be closed to the Facebook platform, and 99% or most or all of the information gathered from it will be in the hands of the Facebook corporation. So, but I do think this is huge, that because of what this will bring, namely more cryptocurrency knowledge and more cryptocurrency intellect, that in the long run it'll cause a great uptick in the participation of Bitcoin and other real cryptocurrencies. And one big reason why I say that is because we've already seen that in Venezuela in 2018 and in the latter part of 2017, they introduced what's called the petrodollar, and as a cryptocurrency, and the government down there began teaching people about the petrodollar, the cryptocurrency of the petrodollar, and what ended up happening is that there was a huge uptick in the participation of Bitcoin. And so consequently, I think the same thing will happen with Facebook. It's going to take some time, maybe a year or a couple of years, but eventually it's really just going to cause a great uptick in Bitcoin as a use case and in the popularity of Bitcoin. So I'm going to sign off here. I really appreciate your time, and stay tuned. I think that more Facebook Globalcoin updates will have to be done. And please, you take your own power in your own hands. And this is all intended as informational purposes, not as financial advice. But take power in your own hands and like and subscribe. I appreciate it. And until next time, peace.